Opinions and stories around the game we love, told by your favorite storytellers. Stay up to date with all things cricket. Subscribe to Crickbuzz's YouTube channel and press that bell icon now.
Let's quickly get what Chahal said, not now, but at a time when he was dropped, rested, call it what you like. I was not dropped in 4 years, and then I got dropped for such a marquee event that was, of course, before the T20 World Cup. I felt really bad. I was down for 2 to 3 days. Then I knew the second leg of the IPL was still around the corner. Went back to my coaches, spoke to them, wife and family, constantly encouraging me. Fans kept putting out motivational posts that buoyed me. Decided to back my strengths and overcome my confusion. It's good, DK, when someone speaks his mind. It's no point trying to say that, no, it's okay. I've got dropped. It doesn't matter. It's if you feel something, come out there and say there's no controversy to it and come back stronger.
True. I mean, now that I sit on this side of the fence, you would rather have people speak honest truth and, make it as straightforward as possible. If you're dropped, you're disappointed. I don't think there is any harm in that. I think it's a very natural emotion to feel, to be disappointed, to be angry at times, to be frustrated. These are all the, negative sort of emotions attached to being dropped. And that's part of the journey as a cricketer, as a sportsman for that matter. In fact, for anybody, any walk of life. So I think when it comes to cricketers, obviously being dropped is the hard part of it. But it's great to see him come back. And he showed his character, the way he bowled in the second leg of IPL was like an absolute champion. For me, he is the top leg spinner in India just by the skills that he has. And, I always rate him very high because you have to remember that he's a chess player and there are always a couple of moves ahead of other normal people. And for me, that's a very special attribute that he has. And you could see with the way he thinks and the way he does bowl under pressure, he's actually sometimes ahead of the normal batsman, let's put it that way. So I really like him as a bowler. I think he's got good skills, he's got good variations, and he's a very brave bowler, and he's single-handedly one of those cricketers who's grown in stature year on in IPL. And he was bought for 10 lakhs, I remember, in 2013 for RCB. Today he's obviously at a price which is very, very high and beyond what it is, what most people earn. So, that goes to show he's improved over a period of time. He's constantly showed his value as a player, and I'm sure he'll be very much in the think tank of RCB as well to be retained. So, he's a creditable player. For me, he's a top leg spinner. He's been consistent over a period of time, and he's very good bowling abroad as well. So, that is a very important attribute for us to keep in mind when India travels to play the World Cup in Australia. So, I have no doubt, to be honest, that he'll be there on that flight to Australia. I think, he'll be wanting to make amends. And also, I know Rohit trusts him a lot. And the way he uses him, we will be seeing that the relationship between Rohit and Chahal is not only strong off the field, but on the field, they have some good conversations. I remember one instance in the Nidahas Trophy when, Upul Taranga, he was going hard at the spinners, and Chahal came and asked him, do you think I should bowl defensively, or do you think I should try and attack? He said, definitely, I want his wicket. If you get hit for 5 sixes, I don't care, try and get his wicket. And that's exactly what he did. He tossed up the ball on the stump, he went for a wild slog, and he'll get bowled. And I love that conversation that they had in the middle of the wicket. I was just standing there and observing them. Terrific captain bowler combo that they have, and I'm very sure Rohit will get the best out of Chahal as a leg spinner.
I think it's always, Ajay, interesting dynamics, because here you're talking about Rohit now, who's got a different responsibility as captain of India. Now, obviously, he has a certain young man who was the preferred leg spinner for the T20 World Cup, who is his boy in the franchise. But now he has to think as India captain, and he obviously does trust Yuzvendra Chahal, as he said in the pre-match interview.
Yeah, I'm sure, when an Indian captain, when he's leading that side, he's not thinking about where somebody is playing, is he my boy or not. In fact, Yuzvendra Chahal is Rohit Sharma's boy because he first went to Mumbai Indians. He was in that Mumbai Indians side. Rohit Sharma let him go. I mean, if he had any control, and that's when he went to RCB. So from that point of view, yes, but once you're playing for that team, I think whoever's captaining for India, I mean, in this case, Rohit Sharma, I don't think any captain looks at a player and says, oh, he's not the same, he's not from my side. I think Indian captains are emotional, but they're practical as well. If you look at, both of them bowling at that period when he was left out, it was a different stage. Chahal was playing, he was bowling differently. And I think when he came back into that second leg, that as DK mentioned, he started bowling better. He was struggling at the time when he was left out. It wasn't that he was left out just because Rahul Chahar had, done exceptionally well. He'd carried on doing, and, a good way to look at, you have numbers that on your screen. But if somebody looks at the game deeper, and if you look at the numbers, he's probably, if he bowled one googly in 24 balls in an average game, he was bowling about 6 to 8 in the second half of the IPL. So he added that, and his arm, which had gone down, it started coming up. So if he's bowling well with the experience that he already had, he's been brought back. So I look at this move. I mean, although Rahul Chahar is a fabulous bowler, he has not played and you've left him out. From his point of view, people would look at it and say, hey, yaar, it's unfair. Why do you pick players and drop them? But he was also picked because, the guy who was playing was not bowling well. When he's come back, then he always comes back. So, and he's a fighter. He said all the things about Chahal. So I think he's bowling better, and that is why he's been brought back into the side. And that's how Indian team is. And the captains of Indian team will never look at any individual and say, this is my boy and this is not my boy. Once you are part of that team, you are part of that team. But once you get dropped, Gautam, once you get dropped and you go home, then you are on your own, because the next guy who's come into the side is part of that team. And that's natural, and that's the only way it can be, because there's so many players who come into the side and go back. Once you're within the team, everybody knows what's happening at your home, what's happening with your family. But once you go back, you're dropped, the next guy coming, there's only that much space for people to keep family relations. The guys who are dropped are forgotten, and then they've got to carry on with their lives.